Okay, perfect.
Oh, I see Bruce Lee over there. You got Bruce Lee Criterion. Great.
Yes, that's one of my favorites right there.
I recognize many of these movies. Awesome. Looks like
Awesome.
my closet. Great.
So I gotta tell you, I saw Clean, and it was like John Wick, except it was like a slow burn type John Wick, but it was like really good because I really liked how the tension led up to like the boom to it, and overall it was a great movie, and you did a good job on it.
Thank you very much.
So my first question is, I know that you and Adrian Brody co-wrote the film. What was your inspiration behind the script and all that?
After the last movie that we did, Bullethead, in 2016, 2017, we've just had a really good experience, and I think we were excited about doing something together. And he had a sort of like an emotional, visceral sense of a character that he wanted to explore. Some things in the world that had been bothering him, some sort of specific modes of violence and the opiate crisis, things that were really pissing him off, and he was feeling those things viscerally, and was really looking for an outlet to be able to explore that stuff and shape that stuff. And that was the genesis for it. And then, we really, we just started chewing on it together. We started, spitballing when he was in Manchester. I went out to see him when he was doing Peaky Blinders, and just walking around the city and kind of dreaming of what this character, might be, what his world might be like. And, and then, when he was in LA, we would get together and work, and then go our separate ways and work, compare notes. When I was in New York, we'd get up and walk around the city and then work and go our separate ways, compare notes. And we just kept kind of iterating. And really the goal was to try to sort of, identify any bullshit and extinguish it and allow, the truth to sort of blossom in its stead. That's kind of how both of us like to work. And it really was a very personal movie for both of us. It's sort of like, it is a ride of an action movie. I mean, it's it's for sure a slow burn, but it's a tough, brutal, son of a bitch of a unapologetic genre film. But
Exactly.
Under the hood really are some, really, really personal themes, I mean, for both of us. So it was a powerful process. I think really the development process was pretty light, because we like working together, and have really similar sensibilities. But yeah.
Yeah, and what I found interesting, he did so much on this. Not only did he produce it and star in it, and co-wrote it, he even composed the music for it. I was like really surprised on that. So he's quite a jack of all trades himself, and I never would imagine that. I always saw him as just this really good actor who can take on any kind of role, and this was probably one of the best ones he's ever done, because I like the fact that he's giving the narration, and you're getting to know a little bit about him, especially through the flashbacks about who he was before he became this garbage man. And I like the irony of the title, like his character's name is Clean and he's a garbage man. I find that so ironic, but it works so well. And it's like he has this great relationship with the people around him, like he's respected in some way, despite the fact that, and I think, and I like I said, this is one of his best roles, and I think he did a tremendous job on this one.
Yeah, he really did. It's really well articulated. I appreciate those observations a lot. It's funny. It's, when someone's as good at one specific thing as Adrian is at acting, people don't even really think, oh, does he have other skills? Adrian's been making beats since he was a little kid. He's been making beats since he was a teenager. He's hugely passionate, about music and about hip hop music, and hugely knowledgeable about, the history of hip hop, and is, very, very close with a lot of people, in that scene, and, spent a lot of time with Tupac, and, close with RZA, and he really, Adrian is extremely hardworking, a studious actor. and he was very, very wise about how he utilized all of these roles. He understood, I think, that all of these various crafts are opportunities to to extend his performance into these other areas to affect his performance. And it's so true. If you spend a lot of time in editorial, you understand the power of a score on a performance. It can make or break or amplify or undercut a performance tremendously. And Adrian had a really, really clear vision for what he wanted from that performance in this movie, and he used the score to get it.
That's awesome. And I have to give props to Glenn Flesher, because
amazing.
He was so great in this.
Yes,
I swear, if Vincent D'Onofrio did not play the Kingpin, Glenn would be the perfect guy to take that role, because he reminded me so much of how Vincent played Wilson Fisk in the MCU. If he ever drops out, I think they need to get Glenn, because he was so good in this. He was so ruthless, and even towards his son, he expects his son to follow him, but his son was hell-bent on joining this other street gang, and that scene where he's confronting him about it was so powerful and emotional. And yet, after what Clean does, he wants to protect his son. I find that duality so ironic, and he just, oh my God, he just really nailed it with that role.
Yeah, Glenn is unbelievably great, and just such a good guy. He's such a nice guy, good guy to work with. For someone who's so fucking completely monstrous, Glenn is a total teddy bear. I loved working with him. I look forward to working with him again. And I love what he did with this role. He understood really clearly that as monstrous as this guy is, as horrifying as his values are, he is a guy who wants what a lot of fathers want for their kids. It's in an actually sort of relatable way. You want your son to inherit and embrace the values that you hold dear and that you believe in. It just so happens that the values he holds dear are pretty fucked up, and he's, that's who he is. That's his world. But Glenn made him real, he made him real, which made him only more monstrous.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing. And then the action scenes are really well done too. I mean, that I have to give props to that. Not just the wrench, but my favorite scene is actually the bowling alley fight scene, where he's just, I remind me of Old Boy, except he has an axe himself, and he's just going away at them with close quarter combat. I mean, I was just like, holy crap, this is amazing. This is well done. And then
thanks.
And I gotta give props to the stunt guys on that because they did a tremendous job.
Yeah, I gotta give props to stunt guys on that. I mean, we had an incredible stunt team. Manny Severio's old school New York stunt master, and Adrian and him go way back to Spike Lee's movies. I fucking love Manny. I mean, I cannot wait to work with Manny again. I cannot say enough about Manny and his team. They come and they kick the living shit out of each other, and and just the creativity that went into that stuff. And Adrian is involved, really intimately with all that stuff. He had a very, very clear vision for how he wanted this character to move and what that action should feel like, and he really did the work. I mean, people don't, may not understand what a physically committed actor he is. He fucking comes with it. He's a force of nature in this movie.
I think a perfect example is people need to see Dragon Blade, because he pulled the sword fights against Jackie Chan, and that really well done. And I think if people doubt Adrian Brody's action talents, I think they need to look not only to Clean, but they need to look towards Dragon Blade from years ago, because Jackie Chan made him look excellent in that one.
Cool.
So finally, what is next for you after Clean? Now that Clean's going to be coming out, what's next for you that you can talk about?
I have a few things going. I don't really like to talk about stuff before it's time to talk about it. I have I have a new documentary with my same team that I did Tread with that I'm really excited about. That's really really powerful, challenging stuff, and we have a great team. on that, and then a couple movies, a couple TV things, and but you'll hear about them in due time.
So basically you're keeping busy, so that's good. That's good enough for me.
Yeah.
But everyone's got to check out Clean. It's coming out January 28th. This is one of Adrian Brody's like finest performances, not just in the action department, but the emotional element. And Glenn Fletcher is amazing in this. Everyone's got to check this movie out, hands down. If they don't, they're out of their minds. So I got to thank you again, Paul, for taking the time to talk about it. And I can't wait to see more of your work.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Great to meet you, man.
Same here. Take care.
All right. Take it easy.
All right.